Hello guys, and welcome to a new Steel Division 2 video today by me, Vulcan. Today I have for you game 2 of a best of 3 between Vesely and Grey Fox in the third place final of the Season 4 playoffs of the Steel Division 2 League. Today they are playing on Orchard East, and on our left in the red team we have Vesely playing on the Allied side using the 3rd US Armoured and the Vanguard deployment type. And on our right in the blue team, we've got Grey Fox on the Axis side using the 1st Blindata and the Vanguard deployment type. So Grey Fox already 1-0 up in this series. Vesely's going to have to do his best to make sure it doesn't go 2-0, otherwise Grey Fox will claim 3rd place in the tournament. So all to play for still, going up for that 3rd place cash prize, and a couple of awesome divisions as well on show. So Vesely with the 3rd US Armoured, very strong, aggressive division, again relies on a lot of the M4s, the M4 Shermans, alongside the similar units to the French that he used previously, so the bazookas, flamethrowers, that kind of stuff. On the side of Grey Fox though, we've got the 1st Blindata, which is going to be the first Romanian division, I believe, that we've seen in the finals, so that's really cool. I get to see the abundance of Panzer IVs and also the Panzer IVs I believe that have heat shells, very cool, as well as plenty of Venatori and other cool units like that. So let's have a look at what's going down here as the game gets underway. Vesely on the top side with the M8 Recon, flamethrower, bazooka, 2 engineers, recon unit coming in an M20, M4A1 and an M4A1 off map at the start. It's going to be a P51 flying about as well. 2 flamethrowers towards the centre with an M8 and a bazooka, flamethrower and a 30 cal heading down towards the bottom side. M8, bazooka, flamethrower, engineers on the very bottom. On the side of Grey Fox, he's got a Schneider, great for transport sniping, Venatori de Carre, and the Venatori Moto as well. There's going to be another Schneider there, 2 Schneiders, Venatori Moto with the Panzerfaust, Pionieri Assault, and another Venatori Moto and Venatori de Carre and the MG42. Venatori Moto, 2 of those in the centre with the Schneider on the road to transport snipe. 2 Panzer IVs going to be following that up. On the top side, Venatori Moto, Pionieri Assault. These Pionieri Assault are really tough to deal with. Hopefully he doesn't lose that early on. The M8's going to have a go. It is going to go down. 2nd squad doesn't want to lose that either. Okay, he does unload. Those Pionieri Assault are 10-man squads with submachine guns and flamethrowers only, so they are brutal at close range, almost as good as Sturmoviki. The reason Sturmoviki are better is because of their veterancy. But that's going to be the M8 taking out the half-track there as well. The T4s are arriving, the T4s being the Romanian Panzer IVs with the heat shells. The heat shells are good for penetrating and doing a lot of damage to medium armour. The Panzer IVs here, the standard Panzer IVs, these are the German ones, they do not have the heat shells. Very good against infantry still though, with that veterancy. The MGs just slice through infantry very easily indeed. So 13-11, that mainly comes down to the fact that Vesely found control over this tree area early on with the snipes from the M8. Nice use of the off map now will certainly catch out the infantry as they try and push onto this area, might also push up back the T4s. And then the engineers and flamethrowers can move up to claim that area. Just kind of sacrificing this flag temporarily to try and get a little bit of an advantage up here. Venatori Moto. Check out those awesome Romanian troops. Going to be trying to push around and find the Aufklärer, the recon unit that just briefly engaged them. This off map's going to be spot on. The bazooka's going to want to back off there for sure, just so it doesn't get caught in the edge of that. If the off-map lands multiple times in the same tank, then we might see one of the tanks actually go down, which would be fantastic. Grey Fox there managing to find the recon squad is nice, because it takes away the extra information that Vesely would have had on any reinforcements coming in on the top side. Towards the centre though, big disparity in forces. Grey Fox, the Venatori Moto, there's 5 units now against 2 flamethrowers. Vesely's going to have to reinforce this very quickly indeed, or he basically risks losing both of these centre flags. The off-map probably didn't do as much as I would have expected it to. The Pianeri Assault didn't lose any more men. The Panzergrenz only lost 1 man. M4A1 capitalizes on the T4 falling back, so that's nice. But otherwise, yeah, rather underwhelming. Schneider there. Ooh, absolutely annihilated by the M16 AA. Very nicely done. But yeah, strong position for the centre for Grey Fox. Just needs to make sure he starts pushing. Does have the 2 Panzer IVs to back him up, as well as these AB Horchers now, which do give him the recon information. Fantastic against infantry. Also a 2-star Stug on the field there as well. Another P-51 coming in. That's going to be using the bombing strike onto Grey Fox's Venatore Moto, and he's getting caught out by the fact that he is not using auto cover. Something I've mentioned in the last game. When he doesn't micro his infantry to specifically get into buildings, they get left out in the open, and that does leave him vulnerable to plays like that, where the P-51 can just get a free bombing strike when that Venatore Moto would have otherwise been hidden. This Venatore Moto falling back. MG42 going to reply against the engineers a little bit there as they engage the Venatore Moto. Panzer IV though takes care of the M8. Venatore Moto again pushing up. That's going to go straight past the flamethrower, so might die. Does unload in time. If he can jump into the building where the flamethrowers are, the flamethrower can't use its flamethrower because they're too close. I think they maybe can't anyway, so the Venatore Moto, they're going to clean up that squad nicely and give Grey Fox the chance to move forwards, but Grey Fox has been very slow on the trigger here again, so it's giving Vesely time to drop an off-map right into the middle of all of these forces. So if Grey Fox isn't quick enough, he's going to take a lot of damage here. These 222s could go down very fast to off-map. Of course, all of this infantry as well is going to take quite a bit of damage, potentially. This is 2 flags in the center taken for Grey Fox, whilst Vesely maintains control on the top side. Bringing up this AT gun is really nice. It puts him in a great position for controlling the open ground up here. But let's see how much damage this off-map does. He does manage to find the final flamethrower squad there, but this off-map is starting to pin a lot of stuff down. Will it do enough damage though? It looks like there's plenty still alive, but if the M4A2s do start to drive up, then they could maybe find some kills. It's like Vesely's going to take it easy for the time being, which I think is fair, because it doesn't really have much to back up the M4s if he was to push them right now. So going to wait for another off-map to come down, and then maybe make a push after that with the Armoured Rifles engineers and this Jumbo at his back. I did not mention the Jumbos at the start for the 3rd US, but I'm sure you guys are very much aware that that is a thing, and they can be very difficult to deal with. Grey Fox's heat shells won't penetrate that. The Panzer IVs might be able to do some damage at close range, but certainly a tank that will trump a lot of what Grey Fox has to offer, unless he can maybe get some more Venatore di Carre down, which do have the Panzerschrecks. Or the off-map coming down another time. Got to be careful with his Hotchkisses here. On the bottom side, I hear the Venatore Moto firing their Panzerschreck straight into a half-track. Looks like that's going to reveal another bombing position for the P-51, although that's probably going to go for the Schneider here, just to pop that. I guess that engaged the half-track and opened up its position. And goodbye to the Schneider. So infantry here that's pushing up will take a lot of damage, actually. The 2 Hotchkiss trucks are really good for slicing up these armoured rifles, and the Venatore Moto pretty good at close range as well, due to their submachine guns. So the armoured rifles there will struggle at close range. They use M1 carbines instead of Thompsons at close range. Panzer IV going to take out the half-track. M4A1's backing off for the time being. Now that is all 3 strikes used up from Vesely and is off-map. Will this Ju-87 hit the mark though? Looks like it missed. The M16 might be able to shoot that down. It's going to get very close to it, which gives the M16 a lot of decent accuracy. Yep, and Ju-87 goes down. So one thing that is quite kind of interesting about watching this fight so far is both players have very distinct styles right now. Nice kill for the M4A176 there. See that Vesely relying on his M4s, very similar to the last game with the 2nd French, The bazookas, armored rifles, very similar to the voltages, you know, all these kind of like light units with like then the M1s to back up. And on the side of Grey Fox, the 1st Blindata is very similar to the 20th Panzer. He's got the Ju-87s in the air, he's got the Panzer IVs on the ground, with the Venatore Moto instead of Panzergrens on the, for his infantry. So very similar playstyles for both players, making them very, very comfortable in this situation. But Grey Fox, I would say, certainly has an advantage holding the hill at the moment. It's going to be difficult for Vesely to break this down unless he can build up a lot of forces, and that is what he's starting to do. Grey Fox, it looks like he's trying to put a little bit of effort still into pushing the top side, which may be a mistake because a lot of these forces will get wasted due to the fact that Vesely has such a strong defensive position there, and that's going to require probably some off-map really if he wants to get through there, or maybe some big bombing strikes and such. IG does have line of sight though onto the M1 gun. Might be able to get that kill. Two health hits there. Yeah, M1 gun goes down. That's a Chechitesh helping out a lot by spotting that. 30 cal might take out the Schneider. Good kill for Vesely. It certainly helps with any transport snipes onto units that want to use this road. Yeah, check out this build-up of forces now, though. So he's got the 2 M4A1s, he's got the off-map vehicle that can be used to help with infantry, he's got his own infantry, he's got the Jumbos, M4A176 and 2 more M4A1s on the way. And on the side of Grey Fox, well, we've just got the Panzer IV and the TA, and then the Panzer IV in the town, and maybe one more Panzer IV further down. So he's very vulnerable at the moment, and this massive investment in Hotchkiss trucks, I guess, was just simply stop the P-51s, but they're just bombing on the bottom side. So I'm surprised not to see the anti-air come in on the bottom side rather than the center where the threat was in the first place. But there we go. He did bring in, I guess, the 25 and the Hotchkiss in the center initially, but yeah, these extra trucks, I'm surprised they weren't just brought in on the bottom side. Regardless, doesn't really matter too much. Venatore Moto there again sitting behind the building might cause them to get picked off eventually rather than inside it. These two again not really in cover, so this one got bombed. I'm really not a fan of not using auto cover. I can understand why Grey Fox might not want to use auto cover because it can be frustrating, especially in town fights where you want to micro in and out of buildings, and like your units end up automatically getting back into a building that was being targeted previously and get themselves killed. That can be frustrating, but I think the benefit of having auto cover on outweighs the disadvantages. So Venatore Moto here being pushed up on by the armored rifles. In cases like this, for example, he's able to micro his units behind the building so they don't reveal themselves to a half-track that could take them out. So this is a example where auto cover, or like not having auto cover, is really nice. Of course, the half-track is going to just go around the thing anyway, but a lovely shot there from the Stug takes out that vehicle before the armored rifles unload. And the Venatore Moto just chilling in position. There we go, Grey Fox proved me wrong almost immediately. But yeah, I still would say that auto cover is better. And then in that situation, you just manually turn off the rules of engagement so that you can make that micro move yourself. Regardless. The 222s on their way, the AB Hawches moving in. These will be quite nice for dealing with any enemy infantry pushes on this bottom side, but don't really give much to Grey Fox, especially since this M1 gun just took out the Stug. These 222s will likely suffer the same fate. P-51 coming in with a bombing strike again onto the Venatore Moto. Again, if they were in light cover, that wouldn't have happened. The Hotchkiss there managed to get some damage done, but not really enough. Build up of forces for Grey Fox on the top side. If Grey Fox could take this top side, and taking these two flags while still holding the high ground would be really, really nice. But currently this area on the bottom side is being picked off by these P-51s quite nicely. Vesely is making great use of those bombers to take advantage of the fact there's a limited AA on this bottom side and takes out an IG there. This is forcing Grey Fox to reinforce a side that's not really under any pressure. I think, well, I guess it's kind of, at the moment, Grey Fox doesn't have much information on what's going on, because a lot of these units are going to be in positions where Grey Fox can't really see. But Bazooka moving through here, trying to get close enough to get a shot off. Jumbo moves up to take out the Panzer IV. This Stug is in trouble, going to be engaged by the M4A2. Does manage to bounce a shot. But now with the push coming through here, I think Grey Fox is actually in big trouble, because there's not really too much to stop that Jumbo. MG42 and the TA going to be able to take care of that 30 cal. That works out nicely. But a Jumbo now coming in to support this bottom side does make these 222s pretty redundant, unless they can stay in cover. Avvenitore Moto going down as well. So we got the Arrancator de Flacare coming in. And... or Flacare. I think they are. I always pronounce it wrong. But those are the two-man flamer squads. They're going to be able to push through here quite nicely. There's not much infantry actually. So if the T4s can get in here and engage the M4A1 and the M8, then there's quite a lot of ground to be made. Oh, he's going to want to get smoked down here though. The M16 is going to destroy those flamer squads. Oh, well, there goes one to the engineers and the other one dies to the M16. On the bottom side, M4A1 moving up now. Jumbo's just going to sit in position covering the high ground. Grey Fox is currently 14 to 10, so does have the advantage in this game. He has maintained the advantage for quite a long time now. Vesely had a good thing going on this top side. It seems like it started to be breaking down. P-51 coming in with the bombing strike onto those. Doesn't quite get the job done. P-51 trying to do the work there. Wow, what even killed the M16 there? I think it must have been the T4 got a shot off. The Ju-87 is still forced back just in time. These IARs are pretty slow, so the Mustangs might be able to get the better of them. Oh, sorry, the P-51s might be able to get the better of the IAR. ME-109 goes down to the to the AA, the Bofors and the M15 there. Schneider in the open is not going to be able to do anything against the Jumbos. Jumbo's just going to win that engagement. Again, things still 14 to 10. Big old build-up of forces here from Vesely though. Not quite sure what he's waiting on. Maybe just some more infantry, but he's got the infantry there. If the infantry moved up and started pushing across the open, I think that would put him in a nice position to start engaging a lot of stuff with his tanks, especially the Jumbo, which can just sit here and tank AT shots all day long. Maybe just recon is just what he wants in position. There is the M20 that could maybe go up first. There is massive potential here though for Vesely to make a lot of ground very quickly, because currently Grey Fox, I reckon he probably feels like in this position that he is trading quite well because of the units that he can see on the side of Vesely. But as long as Vesely continues to trade like 1-for-1 here, when he makes a push with a huge lump of forces like this, it puts so much weight onto Grey Fox, who's already starting to spread out his forces and kind of neglect the center. But Grey Fox has managed to capture the two flags on the top side now, so maintains the 14 to 10. It's not quite the double tick that he had in the last game. M4A1's managing to continue the engagement onto the MG42 without being engaged by the T4. That's very nice. Takes that out. But the MG42 does manage to get rid of the armoured rifles of Avvenitore there. Probably going to end up getting bombed though. They're going to go down. And that's certainly two flags on the bottom for Vesely. So, whilst Grey Fox has managed to take the top, Vesely has managed to break down the bottom. And they kind of swapped flags here, because originally Grey Fox had these two, Vesely had these two, now it's the opposite. So, Stug versus M4A1s at range. The Stug should win these engagements. The M4A176 changes things up a bit. If that doesn't start to get focused by the Stug, that could end up badly for Grey Fox. Grey Fox is actually going to back off. SDK of Z7 is behind now on this top side to help against the P51, so that's nice. That will certainly help out quite a bit. Armoured Rifles moving up into the town. All Panzer IV will help deal with the half-track. It looks like the Armoured Rifles there at close range, absolutely annihilated by the MG42. But Atari Moto can catch them on the other side. Panzergrenadiers here, gonna get eaten up very quickly by the M4s. Gotta keep his units hidden. This is a tough position. There's so much armor on the field for Vesely. It's really, really building up, just more and more and more. Bombing strike coming in for the Stug. Can the SDK Z71 stop that? Yes, it can. The first shot landed a crit, and the rest of those shots just finished the job. Nicely done. I completely forgot about these Romanian AT guns, the Reșița. These, I think, potentially can take out a jumbo if they get close enough. That might be just what Grey Fox needs to break down these jumbos. If he could get some of these set up in flanking positions towards the centre, that would really be nice for pushing back any attempt from Vesely here. Again, Grey Fox, I'm actually going to specifically switch to Grey Fox's point of view because it really does tell you a lot about this game. He can't see very much at all. There's no recon on the edge of these tree lines that would then spot enemy units. So this giant force that Vesely has, you can't see, so he's playing as if it doesn't exist, and that's really, really dangerous. Can the T4 take out the M4A1? It does indeed. P51 though coming in for the bombing strike onto the Vânătoare Motor. They aren't in cover, so they take a lot of damage. Wasn't quite spot on that bombing strike though. Nice pin onto the Pionieri Assault. Does cause them to get surrendered only just. Pionieri finish off the bazooka as it moves up. The flamethrower also getting taken out there. So a little bit of a push coming through from Vesely. Does kind of backfire a little bit. IAR coming in for the bombing strike, but there is the Bofors now. Oh, sorry, let me hide the panel here. The Bofors here now, pushing back the IAR. Reșița looks like it has line of sight onto the M8 Scott, but he's not firing with it because he doesn't want to reveal the position of this Reșița. I assume he's got it there specifically for the jumbo. So he's aiming at the jumbo now. Can he get the shot off? He's taken the shot. He does get a penetration. Going to be bouncing from now on. He's going to have to back off against the frontal armor there of the jumbo. Reșița's only going to have a very low chance of penetration at that range. They're probably like 10% maybe. Maybe less even. I'm not even sure. And what's going on here? Vesely's got a card of 50 cal Jeeps. Okay. Well, I said he needed recon. I don't know if he needed this much recon. But I assume what he's going to do is just line this up on the bottom of the hill. When he wants to make his attack, he just moves forwards with them all. And then we see what it does. This is the first time in a long time that I've seen some like proper meme strats out of a top tier player. This is quite amusing to watch. That's a lot of Jeeps. That is a lot of Jeeps. And he should maybe see them coming in. I don't know actually. No, he still doesn't have line of sight over at the reinforcement road, so you can't see those coming in at all. So the Ju-87 is going to be going for the strike onto the jumbo. I'm surprised he's going for this because he does know that the Bofors is there. He actually just marked it. Or maybe he's relying on the mortar to pin it down. But the mortar really failed at doing so. That's a 60mm mortar, so the HE that it has leaves a lot to be desired. Did manage to get Oh, lovely stuff. And he did manage to get the cluster bombs off. Also the Mustang dying there. So the Scott and the M8 went down. Nicely done. That's the Jumbo taken care of on the bottom side. Might give him a position to push back onto these two bottom side flags, putting Greyfox in a very good position to win this game. But little does he know about the wall of 50 cal Jeeps. Vesely does have to make his move sooner than later though, because the longer this game goes on, it looks like the worse he's going to keep trading. Because, yeah, all of his units are just stacked for this middle push. And on the bottom side, things not looking great for Vesely right now, especially if Greyfox makes a concerted effort. And on the top side, Greyfox managed to kind of hold back the forces that were pushing here. And also now has a Reshidza in position to engage enemy M4s. And now these Reshidza are in position. It's really, really nice. This one is really good here. That can certainly side shot stuff as they push towards the town. Having one on this side would also be great as well. 60mm mortar. Let me continue in the aggression on this bottom side. E4 now moving up. I'm so curious to see what happens with all of this. Imagine being the American soldiers. Like, today men, we shall mount on 50 cal Jeeps and charge the enemy positions with Shermans at our backs. And you can just imagine them all looking at their leader like, what the hell are you talking about? Good stuff. Right, Venatore Moto pushing up. As soon as these engineers reveal themselves, the T4 can just engage that and do a lot of damage. Reshidza engaging the M4A1. That's exactly what it's there to do. Does have really nice rate of fire. Pops one of them. Something that Vesely can't afford to do is push these up willy-nilly, one by one. That's not going to work out well. He's got to do it all at once or not at all. And I don't know why the Jeeps haven't gone up first at this point. He's moved up some of the tanks. Revealed more stuff there, which will force Greyfox to react. And then he's backed off again. So, I don't know. Whilst this does look like it could work, he's got to make sure he does it right still. P-51 again on the bottom side with the free bombing strikes. Nice damage onto the Pianieri. SDK-7-1 not quite in the right position. The thing is, Greyfox had all of this AA in the center for a long time, but hasn't once had an airstrike against him in the center of the map. So I was very confused to see him back up this area. On the top side makes sense, I feel, because you don't want to leave this vulnerable. But on the bottom side was really where he was being hit by those Mustangs constantly, so the fact that he's only just now brought down an SDK-Z7-1 has left him in a weird position. The M1 gun here almost got taken out by the Venatore Moto. Jumbo, new Jumbo on the way. That's going to have to be taken care of. The Reshidza is in position to hit stuff on this ridge again. I really like the position of this Reshidza, because it's got light cover in between it, so you'd always expect the Reshidza to maybe be here instead of behind. But this constricts the line of sight just enough that it can still engage the high ground units. I like that a lot. This M1, ME-109 is just so dead. It's been flying over this Bofors for a very long time. Be surprised if that gets out. Yeah, it's going down. Alright, so any more for the center? Oh, again, strange that Vesely used an off-map strike on this top side when he didn't have anything to follow up. Seems like a little bit of a waste. Is he going to make the pushback? I'm just waiting for it. I'm just waiting for it. I really am. Alright, T4. It's got plenty of work to do against these M8 Scots. Should survive. The M8 Scots really can't do too much. Not with their HE shells. That T4 just popping them all day long. Jumbo will move up there, but then that will give an opportunity for the Reshidza to get a hit. Potentially. Now this Reshidza is being used like artillery. Not a huge fan of that on the side of Greyfox. Looks like he maybe gave an attack order onto the armored rifles and it lost line of sight. So he started accidentally using it as artillery. All that does is really give it away as a position for it to be attacked by enemy mortars or an airstrike. Probably not an airstrike because of the AA, but certainly mortars could do a lot of work there. And Reshitsa did start engaging the jumbo, but it's not going to be finding a side shot. M1 gun, does that have line of sight somehow? Oh, it's engaging that Panzer IV. Blimey. Okay. Well, Panzer IV does the job. M1 gun down. T4 going to take out more M8 Scots. Reshitsa was managed to move back in time. Seems like both players are just so very, very hesitant to push. On the bottom side, Grey Fox is still kind of probing his enemy, I guess, by moving this infantry forwards. But the fact that Vesely's been building up this push for like the entire game so far is surprising to me that he hasn't already tried to make this push. It's only giving more and more time for Grey Fox to build his forces, especially when you are making small pushes still yourself in that area. So once again, the movement of the M4A1s up the hill briefly and then back down again did make Grey Fox bring in more infantry and another tank. So every time you make those little plays, it's going to force your opponent to react, and if you don't take advantage fast enough, then they're going to just build up. I am still convinced that this can work, just due to the fact that if the off-map hits true, there isn't really much in the way of flanking units that can stop an abundance of armor moving up here. So yeah, there's definitely still potential for this to work. But the fact that it's taken this long is probably quite unnecessary. We've got the 60mm mortars here. They're all firing away. One of them's going for the engineers, the other's going for, I guess, what was the Bofors, but the Bofors moved. Oh, was that a nice shot, side shot onto the jumbo there? It certainly got penetrated, I think. Yeah, it's definitely damaged. Off-map now coming in from Grey Fox. 210mm off-map might be enough to actually kill that jumbo. And if that gets the job done, then the T4, with some infantry backing it up, could maybe make a push through. That would be potential for 2 more flags down here. There's only flamethrower engineers in the way. If the armor's dealt with on the ridge, maybe the armored rifles might kill some infantry if they try to push, but yeah, not really much. The M8 would just be killed by a T4. Scott is zooming forwards. Gonna get killed by the Panzer IV. Actually missed. Alright, let's see if the 210 can kill the jumbo, because the jumbo is dead. Well, the jumbo is damaged. Doesn't look like the off-map's going to hit in the right place, though. Completely whiffed. You'd expect the Bofors to die at least. But nope, completely off the mark. Looks like the IAR's maybe going for the bombing strike, but has lost line of sight, so won't be on target. Jumbo survives. Alright, we got it. Here it goes. The 50 cal Jeep push. Yeehaw! This is incredible. So the off-map's come through. Panzer IV has gone down. Hotchkiss trucks, or the Hotchkiss are annihilating the Jeeps. But with all of the tanks behind the Jeeps, it's actually making it very difficult for target priority for Grey Fox's units. So in he comes through. The Venatori di Carri is going to get annihilated immediately. The 50 cal Jeeps are still pushing forwards. This is just utterly ridiculous. Like, seriously, look at that. Well, if you're gonna win, do it in style, I guess. The 50 cal Jeeps just moving through here. The Hotchkiss trucks are taking care of them very easily. If the Jeeps stop and start firing with their 50 cals, then the Hotchkiss trucks will die. So the 50 cals have done their job there. That's going to be 1, 2, 3 flags captured at the same time for Vesely. This is forcing Grey Fox to make an attack elsewhere. to kind of counteract this push coming through. These 20 mils are perfect for dealing with the jeeps, so if they stop and they start engaging, it should be okay to kill at least a few of them before they go down. Because these 50 cals, they can pin a 20 mil, and they can probably kill a 20 mil SPW. Well, off they go. They're going to the top side now. A big push needs to come through here for Grey Fox just to make up for the flags he's losing in the short, or losing in the short term. And then when Vesely over pushes, that's how you manage to break this down and then come back into the game. Getting AT guns into the right position right now to absorb this push is really what he needs to be doing, whilst also pushing elsewhere with the resources he has. He's making the counter pushes elsewhere. It's only 13 to 11 for Vesely. This big old push hasn't really amounted to much just yet. Especially Tsar though. Oh, the 50 cal jeeps are probably going to end up destroying the SDKF Z71. Oh, it did manage to pin down some of them, but did it pin them down enough? No, it didn't. The last 50 cal jeep actually got the job done. Hotchkiss versus 50 cal jeep. Hotchkiss does the job. Alright. So, Panzer IV now engaging the M4s at a distance. Those M4A1s with the 90mm frontal armor can be penetrated quite nicely by the Panzer IVs. Ooh, nice side shot there. Can he get the second one? Oh, so close. Oh, that jumbo. Oh, if it had died, that would have been so good. Nice push coming through here for Grey Fox, but looks like Vesely was sitting on quite a lot of points. It's brought in armored rifles, M4A1. Is that the new jumbo or is that the old jumbo? That's the old jumbo. Still not dead. M4A1's on the bottom side. It's a lot of points. But these units have started to spread out towards the bottom. That has caused Grey Fox to lose a lot of ground very quickly. Bunatore de Moto, or Decade, sorry, can move up here and maybe get a Panzerschreck squad or shot. That would be quite nice. Or does manage to get it regardless. Bunatore Moto at close range should be able to beat the rifles 1-to-1. So that's interesting. The T4 getting through here would be good. I think all Grey Fox really needs to do is make sure he's got a couple of infantry squads in these buildings and then cover the ridge from range with AT guns on the side. He might be lacking AT guns at this point because he's running a Vanguard division. So, you know, the late game availability is not going to be there. Looks like Vesely, however, has... I mean, the way that Vesely played this was as if he was playing balanced. He kind of built up his forces, absorbed the early game, and then just like made that big push back. Which is exactly what you would do with a balanced against a Vanguard division, but in this case does it with a Vanguard. It just saved so many points and just continued to trade. I think just took Grey Fox completely by surprise. Jumbo does finally go down. Was that the SDKF Z71 that claimed that kill? Might have been the T4 back here, but that's a flag back in favour of Grey Fox, but he's losing his infantry on this bottom side, and the T4 in the open is going to go down. Yeah, you can't allow these to max engage multiple units, including a jumbo. That's just not going to work. He has made a little bit of a push on the top side here. Should be able to take out that AA. But there is a jumbo on the way, so that's going to be a pain to deal with. And with that, Grey Fox surrenders. Yeah, looks like the saved up big push finally came to fruition. And Vesely claims his game in this best of 3. Gonna go 1-to-1. 3,915 kills to 3,430 losses. Again, throughout the game, I think Grey Fox had a positive KD, but then Vesely made that push back and took the lead completely because he was saving so many points. And a very interesting strategy, honestly, from Vesely. I liked the idea of the 50 cal jeeps. Not completely convinced on the execution of the push. I think if they were spread out more and they kind of pushed across in a big line, it would have been more effective, especially with the tanks backing them up. But then driving them through and getting onto the AA on the backside there was actually quite good. So yeah, I think initially the push could have been a lot better. The push could have happened a lot sooner as well. Felt like I was waiting a very long time for that to happen. Obviously we could see it building up and Grey Fox couldn't. But yeah. That was an interesting one. I don't really know what else to say. M8, M4A1s, I mean, the M8, well, the M4A176s did really well. The Jumbos are like the perfect counter to a division like this because they are really difficult to deal with. The first Blindata, other than the Ju-87s to cluster bomb them, don't really have anything to deal with a Jumbo. And as long as those Jumbos are microed correctly, there's no way that the Panzer IVs should really penetrate them. The T4s, if they're not microed again, and they're just firing heat at range against the front armor of Jumbo, they're never going to penetrate. So I think the first Blindata has a natural disadvantage to this division. But Grey Fox can sometimes lack aggression, and I think in this game it really caused him to lose out quite heavily. Like it lost him the game, in my opinion. After he managed to take back that top side, it seemed like he kind of sat on his feet and didn't really do much. Some of these units did quite well. That Stug on the top side, very nicely done. Yeah, the kills and losses don't really tell the story of this game at all, so I'm not really going to go through them too much, having had a look at them there. But yeah, lack of AA on the bottom side was a big miss from Grey Fox. Allowed those P51s to get way too many kills. Let's actually have a look at that. So that P51 got a IDA. This one got the IG and the Horch there. This one got down the Ju-87. I guess it wasn't necessarily that they got a lot of kills then. More specifically, it was just that they managed to weaken the infantry squads. It left Grey Fox vulnerable on the bottom side regardless, with those bombing strikes being pretty much free. Just shouldn't happen. All he needed was a couple of Hotchkisses to do damage to those and make them at least less frequent. But yeah, regardless, nice job Vesely. An awesome looking push. Zooming in there onto the jeeps and driving into the enemy fire was pretty awesome. I enjoyed that game anyway. Congratulations to Vesely, brings one back in this best of 3. So now it's all to play for and going into the last game, and we'll have to see if it's another meme one or if one of the players can do it sooner than later. That's it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.